Will this depreciation ever stop?
Well, this is how we got here, because of the depreciation.
Exactly.
So factor that in. Has it bottomed out yet?
Who knows?
No. Possibly, personal opinion, I would avoid the white, because it does just look like a stormtrooper. Is that just me?
You're going to hate us saying this. Don't buy a new one.
Yeah.
Buy a used one.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're on a tight budget and you want an awesome car, these hopefully are going to be cars that you need to check out.
Yeah. When you say tight budget, we should also say some of these cars are up to $200,000.
That's right.
But they do represent better value for money.
And they do start at $3,000.
That's true.
But we have everything. We've got family cars, performance cars, EVs, hybrids, off-roaders.
Yep.
Hopefully, whatever genre you're shopping in or category, we've got something for you.
We're going to kick it off with the Picanto GT.
These things are awesome. Now we're talking, this is the 1 litre 3-cylinder turbo, front wheel drive, little pocket rocket of a thing.
Yeah.
When I say pocket rocket, they're not that fast, but they are so much fun to drive.
Yeah, Kia's little nugget.
Now, I know on the used market, they don't really depreciate, so it's actually a good financial decision to make here. You're looking at about $12,000 to $18,000. Brand new, they were like $19,000. Also, fuel efficient, great use of space.
Yep.
When you get in these things, you're kind of going, how is there this much space in something this small?
Yeah.
It basically gives you everything that Japanese K cars give you without any of the concerns about grey importing and trying to find spare parts and stuff like that.
And you can drive the wheels off it and maybe keep your license.
This is very true. There is a negative though for some people. This was only available in a manual.
Oh, what a shame. You'll have to learn how to drive a manual.
Honestly, they're that good.
That excludes a whole generation, really.
I know, but honestly, these things are that good. It is worth learning how to drive a manual because they are so much fun.
Yeah.
In saying that, because they're only a manual, in the long term, that might have an impact on resale down the track. Or maybe just some people have got talent and they
that
learn.
might make them cheaper for other people to enjoy.
This is true. This is true. Just learn how to drive a manual because they are totally worth it. Okay, next up, this one might surprise a few people considering what we did to this brand in our previous video, which was the most overpriced and overrated used cars of 2025. If you want to see how Volkswagen go in that, go watch that video.
We're going to talk about the Volkswagen Arteon, but specifically the R-Line.
206 TSI R-Line. These things, okay, brand new, you're looking at $65,000 to $75,000. On the used market now, $20,000 to $60,000. 20 grand for one of these things. You got to remember, this is basically the same platform as a Volkswagen Passat, but it's got Volkswagen Golf R running gear, but it was the flagship Volkswagen at the time, so it's got more equipment, more features, it's just as practical.
Much bigger.
It is a bigger car. Even compared to Audis and cars that are technically another level above, these things are superb.
And they do look great. I reckon it's one of the most attractive Volkswagens you can buy at the moment.
Absolutely. Like I am a fan. I think visually, especially the shooting brake, stunning looking car.
Yeah, some of the cons though, I mean, you're saving money and you get a lot of bang for your buck, so you can almost put up with these. There's the ever-present EA 888 water pump issue.
Yep.
That's a thing.
Yep.
Factor that in every couple of years.
Even in terms of driving it, I wouldn't call it a driver's car as such. The steering's a little bit vague. Early DSG can be a little bit clunky. And even in terms of refinement, I think like a Lexus IS or a Genesis G70 are going to offer you more refinement, but those cars are going to be possibly tens of thousands of dollars more than an Arteon.
It's the price that makes these things attractive at the moment. They're slightly lower sales volume than a lot of other models, and that will probably keep them cheap. Also might be an issue with some of the body parts later, but for now, representing good value for money.
Absolute bargain. Brilliant car. Okay, next up, one of my absolute favourites here. It's the Mitsubishi Pajero, but we're talking 2013 to 2021. This is the NX Pajero. I get mates asking me all the time, I need an SUV, 7-seater, I want to do some towing, I want to do some overlanding, bit of off-road stuff, go to the beach, what should I get? Everyone looks at a Prado or an Everest or a Land Cruiser. You're forgetting the Pajero. Yeah,
and they are a good thing. You're not paying Toyota tax, and it's an evolution of all the other Pajeros that came before it. It's super reliable.
That evolution, this is an evolution of the previous evolution, which was an evolution of the previous evolution. I think that the main fundamentals of this thing have been around since the 1990s. So by the time you get to 2020, 2021, they sorted out everything. Also, it's one of those funny vehicles that you jump online and look at the forums and owners groups within the four-wheel drive community, and it's Toyota guys versus Nissan guys, or Land Rover people versus Jeep people. But you ask anyone in the four-wheel drive community, what do you think of a Mitsubishi Pajero? And they all go, yeah, pretty good thing. Yeah. They're like universally respected.
Yeah, they're not as polarizing as a lot of other cars. Everyone kind of goes, yeah, they're all right.
Yeah, they're good. Now, pricing-wise, these things at the moment kick off from as little as $12,000 and they top out at about $55,000.
Yeah.
Granted, at $12,000, it's going to have a stack of kilometres on it, and it's probably, its best days are probably behind it.
Yeah.
But for 30 or 40 grand, I don't think there's any other full drive in this category that gives you as much vehicle for the money as a Pajero.
And look out for shitty mods, though. Some of them are a little bit spoiled by that, but if you can get the one with the right mods, it's still good value for money.
And also, think about it, like you could either go and buy a Prado or a Fortuna or an Everest or something like that, or for less money buy the Pajero and spend the money that you've saved on some really quality aftermarket suspension, maybe some sound editing, upgrade the infotainment system. That is a cracking car.
Yeah, good car.
Speaking of cracking cars,
one
of our all-time faves here, but it does come with a hell of a disclaimer.
The Mazda 6 Wagon.
We're talking 2014 to the current gen Mazda 6 Wagon. The disclaimer, no, you're the mechanic, you say.
The disclaimer is absolutely do not get the diesel. Do not get the diesel.
I know there's diesel owners out there claiming that they're reliable. Stop lying.
No.
Stop lying.
They're reliable until they're not.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend all of the money in the world multiple times. They're not reliable. Compared to the petrols, they are not reliable.
I asked quite a few of my car journo mates what their thoughts were on the most underrated cars. Mazda 6 Wagon came up time and time again, and we totally agree. These things feel so much more expensive than what they are. I still think if this thing was wearing a fancy premium badge and cost $100,000, no one would question it.
They would just go, yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Fit and finish top notch. Yep. They look great. They're practical. They're loaded with kit. Try to find one of the top Atenza models because they're a special thing. Yep. Also lowered on a nice set of wheels.
Oh, they look good.
Look the business. Yeah. Cracking car this. Pricing wise, even this. From $10,000 to $55,000. Again, $10,000, it's going to be interesting. And fun fact, these things retain value better than their sedan counterparts. So, you're going to spend a little bit more money buying the Wagon over the sedan in the used market, but when it comes time to sell, you'll hopefully get that money back.
And the Wagon is not only practical, better looking than the sedan, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, in the flip side of this video, we kind of really gave it to a couple of dual cab utes.
Yeah, a couple of them really stood out as maybe not the best value for money.
I think blatantly overrated and overpriced.
Definitely.
We also alluded to the fact that there are a couple of dual cab utes that you should buy instead of the two we mentioned, starting with the Mitsubishi Triton. Now, specifically, we're talking about the ML and MN, which is the 2008 to 2015. Specifically, GLS, GLXR, and the petrol VR. Now, brand new, these things were like $39,000 to $55,000 on the used market, as low as $7,000, and they top out at about 30 grand. The reason GLS, GLXR, and VR, because of awesome super select four-wheel drive system. Same as the Pajero.
Yep. Stick it into four-wheel drive high. At speeds up to, I think it's 80 or 100 kilometres an hour, you can do that. And, that's great for adverse conditions. None of the others do that.
And you can drive in basically four-wheel drive mode or all-wheel drive mode on sealed surfaces at freeway speeds. Plenty of other dual cab utes in the market, especially at this price point, just simply don't do that. And also, we're talking great support, excellent reliability. It's got a really good modification scene. I feel like this is one of those, it's a bit like the Pajero, those in the know, they know. They're really good things. You might read concerns about chassis bending or things breaking. That's just dickheads driving with no mechanical sympathy.
Exactly right. A couple of the cons though, they do have a slightly more expensive service routine. If people do it as per the book and get the valve clearances done at 60,000 Ks, a lot of people don't. Probably won't kill it if you don't. I would definitely do it no more infrequently than 100,000 kilometres. That does add cost, but overall, other than that, their service requirements, as affordable as just about anything.
And I think it's one of those dual cab utes that because you're saving so much money buying it in the first place, with the money you've saved over the other ones we mentioned, well, you can spend that on the servicing, maybe some mods, maybe a little bit of a lift kit, sort out the infotainment system. You've got more money to play with. Which is the same to be said for our next dual cab ute. It's actually your car.
Yeah, the D23 Nissan Navara.
I'm also going to specifically say the Warrior here. If you're looking at buying one of the other higher performance dual cab utes, definitely check out a Warrior. It's going to save you a fortune. Pricing wise on D23 Navaras, brand new, 35 to 80,000 bucks. On the used market now, $13,000 to $80,000 for a near new Warrior.
Yeah.
Now, coil sprung rear end, which I know some people are really concerned with, but you've got one. Thoughts?
Yeah, look, they're totally fine. They tow as much as all the other dual cab utes, and on the road, that was one of the defining factors that made me buy the Navara over others, because you can actually hit a series of ruts or potholes and it doesn't feel like the body is going to leave the frame. It's not perfect. It's not like a sedan or anything, but it is way better on-road and on-road handling than just about everything else with a leaf spring rear end.
Yep. Some of the early D23s, I know Nissan changed suspension settings quite a few times. So some of the earlier ones, interesting, but not terrible.
Yeah, the later model ones actually remarkably good.
Yep. Also, when it comes, I'm raving about the Warrior. I was lucky enough to drive some pre-production Warriors and do some work for that team at the time. We tried to break those things. We gave them absolute torturous conditions to deal with, and they were phenomenal. We didn't have issues. Anyone that breaks a Warrior, you're a psychopath. You're not actually driving to any kind of normal measures. It has to be abuse, because I know what the Warrior is capable of. And it is outstanding. I don't know what you're trying to do if you're like, oh, the Warrior doesn't do it for me.
And the engines are pretty reliable as well. Transmissions are good too. They're overall pretty good.
And you're going to save a fortune over some of the other ones.
Next on our list is the Infiniti Q50. The Pure, the Sport, and the S Premium, and the Red Sport.
Basically anything with this 3-litre twin turbo, it's the VR30 DDTT. That's the same engine that's in the current Nissan ZZ. Neither is incorrect or correct.
Never.
It depends where you're from. We're talking, this is like 300 kilowatt and 475 newton meters in a rear-wheel drive, compactish 4-door sedan. What more do you want?
Yeah, it's a good engine.
This thing's a weapon. Also, it's made in Japan. The fit and finish is super impressive. Huge tuning potential. The real attraction part is the price. So, okay, new, 60 to 80,000 bucks. You can get these from $25,000.
Why? Why are they so cheap?
You know why? Because it doesn't have BMW M340i written on it, or it doesn't have AMG C53 on it.
Doesn't have Lexus ISF written on it either, does it?
No.
Okay,
these things, these are outstanding. $25,000 for a 300 kilowatt 4-door sedan. That's
pretty good.
Brilliant. It's not all perfect.
No. They're a little bit dated. The tech's a bit outdated.
Yeah.
The whole car's a bit outdated. Interior's a bit outdated.
My concern with the tech, because it's so dominated by screens, I'm not sure how much you can update that. That might be one for the owners groups and forums.
Are we talking to tech guys or car guys, though?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can we have a shout out here? If anyone has one of these, especially a Red Sport, we are dying to feature one on ReDriven. So please let us know. There's an email link down below. Email us, and we'd love to have your car on.
But a car we have had on is the Kia Proceed GT.
I hate the way it's spelt.
Yeah, why though?
I don't know. But this thing is so underrated. Okay, it's not a hot hatch. It is a warm hatch. But I'm going into this video going,
it's a Kia.
Looks all right, it's fine. Looks kind of like a Megane, but not quite as cool. And came away going, this thing's epic. They're so much fun to drive. Massively practical. Seems to be reliable,
Oh yeah, very reliable.
Yeah.
If it's had a good service history, more reliable. Got to watch out for that.
The tuning scene and modification scene is constantly getting bigger with these things. But again, where they're attractive is the price. About $35,000 brand new. These days, pricing kicks off from about $10,000, tops out at under 20 grand.
Completely flying under the radar, this car.
These are fantastic. For the money, outstanding little car. Just, again, make sure you get a pre-purchase inspection carried out. Same as all these cars. Don't buy an abused one. Don't buy a modified one.
Yeah, and the other cars in this category, the Veloster, the Fiesta ST, the GTI Polo, and Renault Clio RS, I think it's a standout.
It is a standout. And I know the Fiesta ST and the Polo GTI, they're going to be far more expensive than, in equivalent kilometres and condition and whatnot, they're going to be more expensive.
And faster.
Yeah, but again, I don't think, we say it all the time, fast doesn't equate to fun.
No, that's right. Bring into, factor in the price. And it's, miles in front.
Brilliant car.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, next up, if you're in the market for an EV, don't buy a new one. Go and buy yourself a Hyundai Ioniq EV. This is the ugly... I'm going to be honest, they're pretty ugly, right? But how's this for depreciation? So we're talking the DC 100 kilowatt and 88 kilowatt versions of these. Brand new, $45,000 to $55,000. On the used market at the moment, they're swapping hands from $15,000 to at most $30,000. That is a huge amount of depreciation, but we're still talking 300 to 370 kilometres worth of range. Yeah. This is the perfect EV for around town, the occasional long trip. Just save yourself some cash.
And on the upside, it's not a Tesla.
That's good. So
no one's going to egg you.
No one's going to burn your car. No one's going to. Your share portfolio won't be going through the floor.
Yeah, if you're in the market for an EV, definitely worth a look.
Will this depreciation ever stop?
Well, this is how we got here, because of the depreciation. So factor that in. Has it bottomed out yet?
Who knows? Also, the suspension tune has been done for local conditions, so it is quite nice to drive. It's about as exciting to drive as washing the dishes.
Yeah.
And also just check that an EV lifestyle suits you. I've tried really hard with EV press cars, and with where I live, there's no charging. It has been a nightmare. So just make sure that you're signing up to the EV thing for the right reasons.
Now, the Ford Focus ST, let's talk about that.
Okay. This thing, we're talking about this is the SA series, or the C519 from 29 to 2022. It's basically the last Focus ST.
2.3 litre turbo, 4-cylinder, obviously.
Yep.
Manual or 7-speed auto.
That engine, this is like that's the last iteration of the engine, right? Yeah. So they've got any of the issues sorted out.
In a standard car, they're reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are reliable.
Yeah. Also, that engine, you're looking at 206 kilowatts and 420 newton meters. That's the same power output as a Hyundai i30N, but it actually has more torque.
Yeah.
But this thing is going to cost you thousands of dollars less than the i30N. i30N, undoubtedly great car, brilliant car. Brand new, these were $45,000 to $48,000. On the used market, $30,000 to $40,000. The model year 2022, they're like high $40,000. Yeah. But this thing, as I said, similar performance to an i30N for thousands less. I think the fit and finish is far superior to even something like a Civic Type R, an FK8 Civic Type R.
And Ford loaded these up in an attempt to sort of get their share of the market. They put every feature in them. They're pretty well stacked.
Absolutely. This thing, I'm going to call it the intelligent choice of hot hatch. It doesn't have the same image or the same appeal as plenty of the other ones, but these things are brilliant.
What year model did they change the diff in these things?
Well, I was going to say, so the previous generation of ST, which is we've featured, I remember in that video, the thing that we both said, if only that had a diff, a better infotainment system, and just, nicer materials inside. Yeah. Well, this generation of ST fixes all those things. It has a diff. It has the latest infotainment system. The fit and finish is top notch. Massively underrated car.
Definitely.
And if you happen to own one, we'd love to feature it.
Yes, please.
Again, let us know.
Actually, I just had a thought. You know what else is massively underrated?
What's that?
It's Automotive Superstore and Wipertech wipers.
Of course, yeah. Look, Wipertech wiper blades, we've been working with these guys for a couple of years now because they are genuinely the only wiper blades we choose to use. They're so easy to order online. They're going to be shipped to your door. They're easy to fit and they wipe brilliantly. And when you get a set for yourself via the link down below, you're going to get 15% off and free express shipping. And then Automotive Superstore, over 400,000 different parts and accessories covering everything from infotainment systems to full drive accessories, performance car parts, dash cams, car care, you name it, they have it. They ship Australia-wide, so as long as you've got the internet, you can go shopping. And to make life super easy, to work out what's going to fit your car perfectly, just type in your rego details into the website and it will filter down to the parts that are perfectly suited to your car, and they'll guarantee that. Check them out via the link below as well. Okay, next up, the Toyota Rukus, or the Scion XB, or the Corolla Rumion, whatever you want to call it. But we're talking about the Australian delivered one, the 2.4 litre. Brand new, you're looking, $30,000, $35,000. These days, $7,000 to $16,000.
Look, they're cheap, and I think part of it is it's a somewhat polarising look to the car. But overall, they are just so freaking reliable. Some of the 2.4 petrols can be oil burners. You've got to look out for that. But the price, seriously, and the practicality.
Speaking of practicality, if anyone watching this has some mobility issues, or maybe you're picking up your grandparents a lot or kids, plenty of owners have just complimented how great this is for mobility because the doors open super wide. The seat height is kind of halfway between an SUV and a car, so you don't have to kind of climb up out of it or climb up into it. Again, huge practicality. Enjoyable to drive. It does have a 4-speed auto, so it does hunt for gears a bit.
It'll get you there, though.
It'll get you there. And also back to the oil consumption. As long as you're topping it up and you're aware of it, it won't be a problem. And also, again, $7,000.
Cheap.
Buy it, you know what? Have a budget of $10,000. And then with your other money left over, put some nice wheels on it and lower it a little bit, and just to you know, because it does have a face only a mother could love. So
makes it slightly less ugly.
Yeah. Okay, next up, one of my favourites here. This is the Lotus Evora, especially the GT430. I do love that we've gone from a mobility-friendly $7,000 Toyota Rukus to a Toyota engine.
It's either that car or this car.
Yeah. If you drive a Rukus and you're like, yeah, it's not quite there, maybe you just spend an extra couple $100,000 and get a Lotus.
Get the Lotus. Yeah.
Now, price-wise, brand new, $120,000 to $260,000. But on the used market, these things kick off from $60,000 and they top out at $190,000. $190,000 will probably get you a GT430. Now, this thing has all of the theatre of a Porsche or a Ferrari or even maybe a McLaren. People mistake it for being a car of that style.
They look great. I love the look of them, to be honest.
Best of all, it's got a Toyota V6 with a supercharger in it. So you've got beautiful power, that V6 sound.
They do sound good.
But super reliable. Costs about the same to service as a Camry.
Yep, that is true.
Also, it's a Lotus, so it's light, so the consumables like tyres and brakes, you're not going to go through that too much. Also, it's kind of practical. It has space behind the front seats. I don't think, you wouldn't fit an adult back there, but kids that don't have legs, 100% you're going to fit them back there.
Good value for money sports car.
And it shares loads of components with the Exige and the Elise and even the new Emira.
Yeah, and the Lotus community as well.
Yeah.
Very tight.
I reckon maybe up there with some of the best owners groups, especially for track day experiences I've ever had. Lotus community, fantastic. Simply Sports cars that bring them to Australia, absolute legends, brilliant to deal with. It's not perfect though.
No.
It can feel a bit handmade.
Well, it is handmade.
It is.
Yeah.
And not in the good way.
A few squeaky, rattly bits.
There can be some electronic issues. Yeah. Infotainment system is a 100% an aftermarket infotainment system, which means you can upgrade it, which is good. Yeah. And also the depreciation, that I can't see that stopping anytime soon. It doesn't have the same mystique as an Elise or an Exige. No. So,
But that's a good thing, you know. Yeah. It can be cheaper and still be good.
Exactly. Yeah. Brilliant car.
Suzuki Ignis. What a good little thing. You know that's the one that looks like the Stormtrooper. You know the one.
We're talking second gen, the MF. This is 2016 to 2024. I wonder what MF stands for. That's something that's Sam.
Mostly
Jackson.
Fast.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good. These things don't depreciate very much at all. Brand new, looking anywhere from $16,000 to $26,000. On the used market, $10,000 to $26,000. Now, I can't say this strongly enough. Like, this obviously is not a performance car. It's like a 1.2 litre engine, but it weighs less than 900 kilos.
Yeah, that's good.
And even though it's not a performance car, it is easily one of the most enjoyable driving experiences I've had. With a manual transmission, this thing is cracking, great little car. Yeah. Again, like all these little Suzukis and everything in this class, such an intelligent use of space. You get in and you're like, it can't be this big in here. But it's a tiny little car.
Yeah. Reliability, typical Suzuki reliability. They are just, service them and they are unstoppable.
Yeah. And fuel efficient.
Yeah, very much so.
And again, super light, so you're not going to go through tyres and brakes unless you drive it like a dickhead, which is going to be a challenge because it is so much fun to drive.
Yeah, true that. Some of the cons though, not the safest car in the world. And possibly, personal opinion, I would avoid the white because it does just look like a Stormtrooper. Is that just me?
But is there anything wrong with looking like a Stormtrooper?
Well, unless you're a Star Wars fan, I guess so.
Who isn't a Star Wars fan?
Well, you know.
Okay, next up, this one even sort of flew under the radar for me until I started looking into it. BMW 130i. We're talking from 2005 to 2011, 3-litre, straight six, rear-wheel drive. It's a rear-wheel drive 5-door hatch.
When you think about this car,
cool.
What other cars are there that are fun rear-wheel drive 6-cylinder? There's not, you know what they are.
Yeah,
but you go old school JDM, too expensive. You go something like an 86 or BRZ, not as fast.
And not as practical.
So it's kind of a bit of a unicorn, really, that whole that whole car. Yeah.
Such a good thing. $65,000 when brand new, there's BMW.
Yeah.
These days, from $5,000. Don't buy a $5,000 one unless you're going to pull it apart and fix it.
In the top end, like 25 grand. That's for what they are. Great tuning scene. You can get power out of them.
Yep. And look, I know you might be thinking, oh yeah, but BMW, absolute reliability nightmare. Maybe, but
These ones aren't bad.
they're not complicated.
No.
There's no turbo, so there's no major cooling issues. They're electronically relatively simple.
They are. They still have oil leaks from the oil filter housing, and the cooling system is a lot of plastic, and that can fail. But overall, it's still a 6-cylinder rear-wheel drive, five-door car. Very practical and can be made fast.
It also might be feeling its age a little bit. Some of the interior plastics might be getting a little rattly here and there. But you know what? If you're an enthusiast, this is the car.
Yeah, 100%.
These are fantastic. If you're just a punter that just wants a fun car, maybe not. This is going to require some attention.
Probably.
But hugely underrated, and I think they're a bargain for what they are. That engine, 6-cylinder, so smooth, so good.
Good thing.
Okay, this next one, Jim doesn't agree with me on this. I think these are great. I think they're a hot-looking car.
I agree. They do look good.
And I think they go really well.
They go great.
See, okay, I'm just going to inside here. There'll be so many times where I go, oh yeah, I might get one of these, and I ring Jim and he goes, don't get that. I don't have time to fix your car for you. And this might be one of those, but I'm going to ignore your logical mind for a second. It's the Volkswagen Scirocco from 2008 to 2017. Hang on, think about this. It's basically Golf R running gear, but front-wheel drive only. So it's smaller and lighter.
So it's Golf GTI running gear?
No. It's got more power than the GTI. Look, granted, don't buy the DSG. This is one of the earliest DSGs, and they're pretty clunky, and they're not great for reliability. And just be a true driving person and buy a manual and learn how to drive it in a manual.
You can get huge horsepower out of these EA 888 engines. They're fun to drive, but you'll get all of the torque, steer, and wheel spin. But that's they do look good. I'll give them that. And you know what? They are cheap.
I'm also going to go as far as saying this was a period for Volkswagen when the fit and finish was also quite good.
Yeah,
so the ones I've checked out, and granted it hasn't been super recent, we're hopefully going to have one on the channel soon. Fit and finish, actually pretty good, pretty resilient. The reason they're so great, okay, so around the $50,000 mark when brand new, you can get these from $10,000 now. They top out at like 30 grand.
Yeah.
Don't buy a $10,000 one. But come on, let's say $25,000.
Yeah, you get a good one for that. And I see them at track days. They're usually pretty good.
Thank you. See, they're good.
Yeah, they look good.
Okay, next up, it's the Genesis, all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just going to read from the script here as a voiceover, and Cal can fill in the gaps because they're so good. If you're looking at a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes-Benz C-Class or a Lexus IS or an Audi A4, check out a G70, you're looking at $35,000 to $80,000. If you're looking at a 5 Series, an E-Class, an A6, a Lexus ES or GS, check out a G80. They're like $50,000 to $115,000. If you're looking at a Porsche Macan or a BMW X3 or an X4 or a Mercedes-Benz GLC or an Audi Q5 or a Lexus NX or RX, check out a GV70, $50,000 to $115,000. Or if you're looking at buying a Bentley Bentayga, just get a GV80, $60,000 to $130,000. Now, I don't know if you've sat in or driven a GV80.
Or a Bentley Bentayga.
The Genesis.
Yeah.
It is bananas how good that car is. Also, back to the GV70, I've got a mate of mine, he chose to remain nameless for this, but he is, I think, one of the best motoring journalists in the world. And I got chatting to him about this list. And he said that the GV70 in the top spec is arguably the best car in the world. That's a huge call.
Yeah, that is
but
a big call.
When you think what a car needs to do, it just does car. It's practical, it's safe, it's loaded with kit, super reliable. It's all Hyundai underneath, so parts are cheap and accessible. It's wonderful to drive. It looks great. We've got hopefully one coming on the channel soon.
What's the downside?
I don't think there is. I don't think there's a downside. It's cheaper than all the Euro.
It doesn't have the brand appeal. A lot of people don't like that.
I know, but you're better than to fall for that
I know,
rubbish.
yeah, exactly.
All the bullshit with marketing and hype and, I've got this particular car.
Yeah.
You're better than that.
Yeah. Get in one and drive it. Seriously. Yeah.
Also, the dealer experience, especially the certified used car Genesis thing, we put it to a bit of a test when we did the G70 video. Outstanding. Yeah. Absolutely outstanding. In saying that, in their research for the G70 video, there were some reports that some Hyundai dealerships are a little bit funny when you take a Genesis in to get it serviced, if you're not within the Genesis realm of servicing.
Yeah.
But I think any Genesis, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We're not paid by them. They don't know we're saying this. I just think they're fantastic cars. Okay, next up is the GWM Ora. GWM are going to hate us saying this. Don't buy a new one.
Yeah.
Buy a used one for a few reasons. Number one, brand new, they're $36,000 to $52,000. Used, $25,000 to $40,000.
That's cheap.
And you're buying a used EV, so it means you're recycling, which is just better for the environment.
Better. The looks can be polarising, but around town, it's everything an EV should be.
Yeah.
Really.
It's like the perfect EV. Small, fun to drive, fun to look at, fun to be in.
Yeah.
Okay amount of range for in a city.
You wouldn't get one of these for long hauls.
No, God,
again, most people don't get EVs for that. But around town, this thing is super practical, and the price is very appealing.
The only issue, I think, is it might be like the Hyundai Ioniq EV, where
the depreciation.
Does the depreciation ever stop? Because if it's dropped this much already, it might be worth absolutely nothing.
But what a good way to get into an EV. Like someone's already taken a massive hit on the depreciation. This is probably as good as any way to get into it and try it.
Absolutely.
Without losing all of your money.
Again, why the hell would you buy a new one? Just buy a used one and save yourself a fortune. Okay, I love these.
Yeah.
So I drove one of these a little while ago, and at the age these are, the suspension's pretty much flogged out. But the one I drove, the guy had done all the suspension, struts, bushes, the lot. It is so underrated. It is such an enjoyable car to drive, and pricing kicks off from $3,000.
What's he talking about? He's talking about the Mazda 3, the SP23.
Yep, this is the BK.
The old one. Yeah.
The old one.
The OG.
2.3 litre. You can have a 6-speed manual or a 5-speed auto. If you like your driving, get the 6-speed manual.
It's a great entry point for a sporty hatch.
Yes.
And it's a cheap way to get into some motorsport. They're not slow.
No.
They're not super fast, but they're okay.
Again, with the right suspension mods, I could not get over. I remember just turning in and going, whoa, hang on a sec. What? This is responsive and nice and really nice struts in it, so it wasn't bouncy and harsh. Yeah, I reckon a $10,000 SP23 with like $3,000 worth of suspension on it.
Good fun car. The trick is going to be finding one that is not wrecked by the previous owner or shitty mods or whatever.
Yep.
They're getting harder to find, but they're still pretty cheap.
I think hopefully, because it was never an overt performance car, you'd like to think that hopefully not the majority out there have been ruined by dickheads. You'd like to think that it was just someone maybe in their 40s or 50s at the time that just went, I want a car that size, I want a Mazda 3. What's the best one they do? SP23. That'll do me.
They don't look that different to the standard Mazda 3.
No.
And I think they fly under the radar in terms of, people owning them. They don't realise, you don't see them very often, but maybe you just don't notice them.
Yeah.
Because they look so much like a standard car, and that's probably a good thing.
Yep. If you've got an SP23 and you're watching this, can you lend it to us? Because it's another one that we want to feature on the channel. Let us know. The email's down there. Okay, and finally, and I think arguably the ultimate way to lug a bunch of people and all their stuff around. We're talking Toyota Estima from 2007 to 2016 and the Alphard and Velfire from 2012 to 2023.
Those cars are very comfortable.
Yeah.
Fully loaded.
Yeah.
Incredibly reliable.
Yep.
Okay looking.
They can look better with like a good set of wheels.
They do look a bit like a transformer.
They can, yes.
But the price. So
it kicks off from about $15,000 for an Estima. You can get them cheaper than that, but I wouldn't spend less than that. And it tops out at about $150,000 for really top spec Alphard or Velfire. But you've got to remember that's $150,000, and that is a lot cheaper than a private jet, and it feels exactly the same as being in a private jet.
Those top end Alphards, they are incredible inside. Supremely comfortable.
Even if you've got no interest in buying one, your lifestyle doesn't need a car like this, go and find a dealership that has a top spec one and just go and sit in it and just go, oh my God. Honestly, it's proper luxury.
They have the captain's chairs, don't they?
Yeah.
And do they face... Can you turn them around?
I think some of them you can.
Is it the Velfire? I don't know, but the chairs in the back are pretty cool.
And they massage and they heat and they cool, and it's just, they are so cool. But even the Estimas or Estima, even the cheap ones are still...
Well, they're a Tarago, basically.
They're a Tarago. Yeah. We are talking about the 2.4 litre hybrid engine ones. That way you get better fuel efficiency around town. It's not going to make much of a difference out on the freeway. But as Jim said, ultra reliable, great build quality. Yeah. There are four-wheel drive models as well. It's not full drive as in
all-wheel drive.
Yeah, all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Don't go rock crawling in it, but in terms of security on the road in slippery conditions or on a gravel road, pretty bloody good.
All right.
Also, I know a lot of people are concerned about, because it's a grey import, well, what happens with parts? Yeah. The thing is, this shares a whole bunch of, they all share a whole bunch of components with locally delivered models. Yeah. Even the Estima, as we said, is kind of a Tarago, so you can still maybe get body parts. Yeah. Velfire and Alphard, if you need certain things specifically.
And even then, you know, they're only a few mouse clicks away these days. It's not like the old days. Import stuff's pretty easy to get parts for.
Well, and also, when you look at other cars in that class, or really any other cars in general, we're hearing all the time that dealerships are having problems getting certain parts. We know of cars that have had warranty claims and the cars are sitting, still for 6 months waiting for parts to come in. And that's cars that people have bought from the dealership. Yeah. Whereas in the import world, click a couple of websites and you can have parts to your door pretty much in no time. Yeah.
Very cool family truck stuff.
Yeah, very, very cool. Oh, one other thing on it. Just check your insurance premiums. Depends on who you are, where you live, all those sorts of things. But sometimes grey imports can be interesting on insurance, but because more and more are coming in, hopefully that is reducing down a little bit as well. But we have a question for you now. What did we miss? What underrated bargains should we have had in the list? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, and while you're down there, let us know what other topics like this you want us to cover.
And in the meantime, make sure you go and watch the flip side of this, the most overrated and overpriced used cars, because my God, there are some shit shows amongst them. We'll see you next time.